Wednesday. Here's hour number 3 with Gil.
All right, thank you. Lloyd Lindsay Young with the weather, Valerie Grant with the news. We'll be back at the bottom of the hour. This is an interesting story, and it just has so many people talking because this is something that we don't talk about much. We see every once in a while a hard-hit foul ball, sometimes even a bat. When a bat breaks, go flying into the stands and always gets a ooh. And every once in a while, of course, we get somebody who is really, really hit hard, as we saw recently in a game. Now we have a lawsuit, an A's fan suing to expand the safety nets down the foul lines. On the line with me is their lawyer, Bob Hilliard, partner and attorney with Hilliard, Munoz, and Gonzalez law firm that is representing Gail Payne in this lawsuit. Good to have you with us, Bob. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm fine. Gail is I went to one game and a ball came close to me, so I'm suing. I mean, this is somebody who's been going to A's games for, at this point, almost half a century.
That's right. She's a die-hard A's fan, and she's, personally seen the danger of foul balls coming her way, and she loves her A's, but she also appreciates that if the wrong foul ball hit at the right speed, comes rocketing up, there's nothing she or anyone else around her can do. I mean, we've seen it over and over again in the last couple weeks. And in preparing for this lawsuit, what we also have discovered is disturbing, and that is that twice during the collective bargaining, the players' union petitioned the owners to extend the netting because they see firsthand the severity of the injuries. When I'm at a ballpark and someone hits a foul ball, or you even watching it on TV, you can just kind of feel the collective breaths of everyone in the stadium holding their breaths, just hoping that, someone doesn't get, a child doesn't get hit, or an elderly person. And again, in preparing for the lawsuit, we also learned that stadiums now do all they can to have fans interact, through Wi-Fi with texting of the results of big screen contests. So there's a lot of distractions, but that's really secondary to the fact that no one can react. No human being can react if the wrong foul ball comes off of a bat at 100 miles an hour and goes at lightning speed right past the dugout. I've actually interviewed a doctor who was watching a game and being alert, and all he could do was move his grandchild 2 inches before the ball hit him in his eye. Jeez. And he lost that eye. Yeah.
Is it my imagination, or are the balls coming down that first and third line a little harder? Maybe because the players are bigger. We've got more people throwing the ball in the high 90s, too. So all you have to do is stick the bat out in front of it, and the ball rockets off of there. It just seems that there's more really hard-hit foul balls down the first and third base lines than there used to be.
That's right. And again, the statistics kind of lead this lawsuit. And keep in mind, the only thing that Gail Payne seeking on behalf of herself and others who are in a similar situation is that the nets be extended. This isn't a case about money for her. It's simply, protect the fans that you want to have come out to the ballpark. But, back to your question, you're exactly right. And that is the baseballs come off of the bats at up to 100 miles an hour, sometimes faster than the pitches. And more fans, another thing that, the lawsuit cites is statistics that show more fans get hit by baseballs than batters get hit by pitches.
Yeah, I saw that, and that kind of shocked me. I mean, apparently about 1,750 spectators get hurt each year by batted balls. So we're not talking about just batted balls, that go in there that somebody catches or just kind of, rattles around.
Right.
Actually get hurt. And the number of batters hit by a pitch, and that means not hurt, but just hit by a pitch, even if it just brushes by their uniform, is 1,536 last year. So, yeah, and some of these injuries, pretty serious, although I think there was only one death at a major league game. A couple in the minors, interestingly, but a lot of the minor league ballparks are, the stands are a lot closer than they are in the majors.
Well, a couple points on that. So, in the history of baseball, there have been a number of deaths caused by fans being hit by baseballs. By in one case, a manager inside a dugout getting hit by a baseball, and then tragically, a few years ago, one of the minor league teams here in Texas, the first base coach was hit by a line drive and did not survive. And so it's clear that the ball can do enough damage to cause death. It's absolutely factually undisputable. And then when you look at the front row of many of the unprotected seats, over and over again, you see young children, you see young parents with kids, you see fans who are simply being what the ballpark wants them to be, which is fans interacting with the entire experience, not just paying attention to the pitch count.
The thing I find, one of the many things I find interesting about what you're saying is, you're right, the way we watch games, completely different now. You used to watch the game. You might look away between pitches if you kept score like I do, so you'd look down at your scorecard, but that was between pitches. You wouldn't miss a pitch. You might look away when the hot dog guy or the beer guy was near, so you'd be like looking over and say, hey, over here. Other than that, you went to a game to pay attention, but you're right. Now they're doing stuff on the scorecard, on the scoreboard. Now they're doing all this interactive stuff, so you're looking at your phone even though you're at the game. Some people looking at the phone because there's more, or a tablet, because there's more of a chance of they're seeing a replay, especially if their own team screwed up. There's more of a chance of seeing the replay on the tablet than on the scoreboard. So, I mean, a lot of people are not looking at the field while they're at the game, and that's kind of a sea change from not that many years ago.
And that's right. And there's really no legitimate counter argument when you look at who supports this extension. You look at the baseball players themselves. The manager of the Yankees last week, after watching a woman be severely injured by a line drive foul ball, said, look, it's time. It's time to do this. Yesterday, one of the best agents for the players in the country stepped up and says he always sits behind the nets. And then you look at the collective bargaining agreement, and the players have a right to have all their family members sit behind the nets.
I know the Braves manager, Freddie Gonzalez, used to tell his family, you either sit behind the home plate netting or you sit way up in the stands. Here's a couple of things I was thinking about, though, because there are other fans that are going, no, I bring my glove. I want the ball to come to me. There are certain parts of the ballpark where you're much more likely to get one of these hard-hit foul balls. I mean, obviously down the line, first and third. And so much so that at Turner Field in Atlanta, they actually have the ushers in those areas are actually carrying devices, give them direct connection to EMT people, and so they can get them down there in a hurry. So ballparks know which part of the parks they are. So I'm wondering, a couple of things. One, whether you maybe just do the netting at that level, or B, since the ballparks know, look, this is where those kind of balls go, maybe just tell people, look, here's the seating chart. This is where you're likely to catch a ball, but also likely where you're going to catch one right between the eyes. So at your own risk, but you should know this is the part of the ballpark where this is a danger. Either of those okay?
Well, no, and here's why. So you still have a right to catch the looping, slow, lazy foul balls that go up in the air. And granted, there's not going to be as many chances if you eliminate, the possibility of serious injury or death. But you have to weigh the consequences. Like I just learned that in the All-Star game, the tickets for the first time, instead of having 1,000 words that no one can read on the back that says it disclaims any responsibility. Yeah. It now says, frankly, that there's a risk of injury, including death, from being hit by balls. And I can appreciate and acknowledge that some fans believe that they can catch any ball hit their way. But it's just not factually true.
Well, I remember when that fan got killed. I think a lot of Giants fans remember it because it was a game between the Dodgers and Giants at Dodger Stadium in 1970 when somebody in the stands at Dodger Stadium was killed by a foul ball. So, I mean, that's something that Giants fans who go back a few years actually, remember seeing.
Right, that's right. And since the lawsuit has been filed, there are folks who were raised inside of baseball that have stepped up and said, look, the netting does not change the experience. Probably the one country that almost loves baseball as much as America is Japan. And they often send many of their best players here to play for the MLB. And every stadium in Japan has what we are asking the stadiums in the United States to have, which is protective netting all the way down both foul lines.
All right.
It is a request through this lawsuit whose time is right. I mean, when you just sit down and think of how you feel when you see a screaming foul ball, and you think about, it's just the randomness of the position of the fan in the seat.
Well, we'll follow the suit. We'll see where it goes. And again, to emphasize for people who didn't catch that part, this is not a suit where your client is looking for money. She's looking for netting. So it'll be an interesting suit to watch. Yeah, Bob.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Bob Hilliard, partner and attorney with Hilliard, Munoz, and Gonzalez Law Firm, representing Gail Payne, who has filed this complaint. And again, Gail, one of those actual A's fans. I mean, she's been, let me see, how long has she been? And her seats are along the first base line. I think this is one of the reasons why she's concerned. So she's been sitting there since 1968. So, all right. So an actual baseball fan, not somebody who just came to a game and went, this is dangerous, I think I'll file a suit. So, see where that goes. See where it goes.